Well, good afternoon here in Zurich for the Weltklasse press conference. I'm Colin Jackson and I will be the moderator for the majority of the press conferences if you join us throughout the next couple of days. And this very first one is a good one for me to open with some very close friends of mine who I've worked with in Weltklasse for, oh goodness gracious, I don't want to say many years because it will age a lot of us and we don't want anything to do with age being involved. But we have the joint meet directors. We have Andres Hector here, lots of you may know Andres, here, and Christoph Jochel here as well. So we will be having some questions to you very soon, but there is a tradition that I do with any time I do a press conference here in Weltklasse, and that is I get a selfie taken with everybody who joins me at the desk. And gentlemen, you're going to be superstars now because you're definitely going on my social media. And it just wouldn't be right if I, only asked the athletes, right? So come on in, make sure we're all here. Are you smiling? Yes, I got you all in. Super, thank you very much. Right, the serious stuff is done, my selfie, which is perfect. But let's start off, Christoph, with you, if I can do. So we are back here at the main station since 2019. It's been such a long time. So tell us the goal. What's going to happen down there?
Yeah, it's nice that we are back at the main station. The last 2 years, when we host the final of the Wanda Diamond League, we were on the Sechs-Leuten-Platz in the city center because we had to accommodate more events. And it's really nice to have a focus on just one event. And the new thing is it's an official Diamond League discipline tomorrow, so with the official points, the official prize money and everything, so the real thing. But also already in the past 19, 18 and before, we always had the best athletes, so it was not just a promotional event with some athletes, it's kind of has to be world class.
Oh yeah, always the case. And I always remind people, world class is in the name for a good reason of this meeting. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. So actually things that are happening going down there in the main station you kind of mentioned, but what else does world class do to really, I guess, help promote athletics?
Yeah, the goal and it's just an example, a good example, the main station event. We want to go out of this lovely stadium to connect with people, and main station is free, and so people who has no probably access to athletics, no clue what's about, so they experience very closely. Of course, we have different programs all over the year, like the most famous one is the UBS Kids Cup, of course, with again 170,000 kids this year participating in Switzerland between 7 and 15 years old. We invented a new thing to promote endurance at school. It's called the Weltklasse Zurich Extra Mile. So mile is not very common in a metric system. However, extra mile, you do something extra to push you. And we had a very successful start. Within 1 month, where 250 school classes signed for it, 5,000 kids. Here it's the final in the stadium. We had with the Zoo of Zurich now a new partnership to do a zoo run. When in the evening, when it's already closed, it's always bring people in a very playful way to the sport, to athletics, and then hopefully they are here as spectators or even better as athletes.
Yeah, so it's not just keeping, Weltklasse Zurich just focus on the one day. It's really building in so people understand that Weltklasse has a presence throughout the year.
Correctly. We have a 365 strategy we are working on very hard, so it should be a brand all year around in Switzerland.
Brilliant stuff. So, Andreas, if I can talk to you a little bit about some of the star athletes that are here, because that's where your excellence really comes into play in making sure these athletes are here to demonstrate, well, their skills at the highest level to the crowds here in Zurich. So, for you, how exciting is it when you start to see some of the new names Europeans that have come in that have just won gold medals, for example, at Budapest.
It's always nice to see young and fresh champions, of course. We also have people that coming the first time to a Diamond League at the age of 18, 19, the first experience on the Diamond League in Zurich, so that will be always in your mind.
I've got to admit, my first experience at Zurich was as a 19-year-old. And I've got to tell you the truth, I was petrified. Because it was just the fact that the level of competition that was here was just, well, mind-blowing for a 19-year-old. But I did all right. I ended up finishing second, so it wasn't too bad as an opener, that is for sure. So when we talk about the athletes that are going to be here, I mean, for you, what makes it an added speciality, the fact that they're here, they're going to compete at the highest level still, and you're there organising all this? That's a tough job, surely.
It is somehow a tough job. It's somehow a nice job as well. So you have the contact to the athletes, to the agents of the athletes, and the whole year long, and you build also relationships, friendships, and that's the nice part of it. The headache part of it started, let's say, last Thursday when the so-called cancellation period started, and tons of athletes realized they are not ready to come and compete. So I'm happy to see that the pole vaulters, more or less everybody is here in the house, and also the two world champions.
Yep.
Welcome to the press conference or here. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I know, of course, we'll be lucky enough to speak to them really soon. But lots of people will be asking questions about what things happening at the main station, as we know. But you said, Christoph, that if you do a great result there, it really counts, right? It's getting the same prize money, etc., etc. What happens if there's a record, like we were close to the shot put world record last time?
Yeah, last year it was the second best throw ever on this planet, on the Sechserleutenplatz. So it's a certified track. So it's a certified pit as well. So if the girls show the same shape as in Budapest, we can also expect, why not 5 meters? Why not over 5? So the world record is not that far away. So it will be a real world record jumped in there. So the only difference to the stadium is that on the train station there is a roof. So it counts as an indoor. But you know, in pole vaulting, it's nowadays not really a difference between indoors and outdoors, so they count it together. So it will be an integrated whatever world record if, we're lucky enough.
Well, we're seeing smiles from over there, so that's really a really good thing.
I want national records as well, so it counts. Everything counts.
It all counts, yeah, it all counts. It is fantastic. If we can kind of a little bit, on both you, I guess, reflect on what happened at Budapest, you know. I mean, for you, Christoph, when you see such a successful, generally across the board, championships as Budapest, new world champions, a multiple of world champions from different parts of the world, does it make selling athletics easier?
It always helps when you present athletics in the most attractive way. And the more great events you have in Switzerland, all over the world, single one-day meetings, championships, it makes just the sports more attractive. And we compete against here football, ice hockey, in other countries, basketball, baseball, whatever, cricket, rugby. And the more fascinating we present it, better.
Yeah, yeah. And for you then, Andreas, as well, does it make it more exciting for you when you see a brand new name from a country that's never won a gold medal or a silver medal before to hit your start list?
Yeah, why not? But I don't have the statistics of which country was participating, and I don't really mind, honestly, from where they come. The most important thing is that they build their own brand, and on the way to be a star and be recognized by the big public. That is what we are looking for.
Excellent. So for you, sorry, Christoph.
And This is also our ambition. We want to present or give the athletes the best opportunity, the nicest stage to perform. So it should be something special, and we are always thankful for the feedback we got where we can improve and what is excellent. And so I think that's how we build up the legacy of the Letzigrund Stadium.
Excellent. And finally, this is a little bit of a jokey question for you both all now, because I know you'll get uncomfortable when I say this jokey questions, right? Is it true, Christoph, right, that you do all the hard work at the beginning to get the exposure, make the money, and then he just comes along and spends it?
Exactly.
You seem happy to do that.
We should, but to be honest, I don't want to switch. Yes, now I suffer during the year, and he's now suffering with the athletes.
Okay,
that's the field.
It's like in a marriage, you know. The one earns the money, the other one spends it.
It seems to be working remarkably well. Well, listen, I'm pretty sure we're going to have a very successful Weltklasse this year. It always has been. I'm really honoured and pleasured to be back here, and I hope, Thursday night you could both sit back and enjoy your successes. So, yeah, congratulations, and thank you very much for having us.
We're going to enjoy it when it's over, but all the signs are very positive because the stadium is sold out already for 2 months. And we had a lot of family tickets here, but they are not cheap. Yeah. We do it on purpose that it's not that cheap, but affordable. And within 1 week, all the 8,000 family tickets were gone. And this symbols how attractive athletics is at the moment.
Do you see, I know I said the final question, but, Christoph has kind of led me onto another one here, which is like, when you see that and you hear those statistics, you've got a full stadium, all the tickets have been sold, people have invested in the Weltklasse to turn up, does that put any pressure on you to then deliver the quality of athletes that they're going to be expecting?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So the expectation of the spectators is high, of course. You mentioned the name is programmed. So if you have the word Weltklasse in the name, so that is somehow also putting pressure on you. So the spectators, they expect to have the best athletes available in the stadium, so that is a little bit of pressure. And of course, I invested in better weather for Thursday, and
better weather.
I was taking the safety one to put the roof on the train station, so no problem there.
Brilliant stuff, absolutely fantastic. Before we finish off here with these two gentlemen, are there any questions from the floor? Everybody seems very happy. We like that. Christoph, Andreas, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Well, we're going to go directly. Continue joining me. Thank you very much here. As we negotiate where we're all going to be and where we're all going to sit. And I've got some great questions for Angelica, for Nina, and, of course, for Katie, all from the wonderful world of pole vault. Now, I know you just came in just at the end, really, the back end of that, so I've got to break the news to you all. As everybody starts to laugh, before we even start the interview, I've got to do a selfie. Right, okay. So we gotta smile. We gotta smile. Here we go. Here we go.
Nice. Perfect.
Everybody's looking fantastic. So first of all, I got to say congratulations to all three of you, right? I mean, because there was season's best, there was world best, there was all sorts that was going on in that pole vault competition. So if I could start with you first, Angelica, I mean, you literally had, coming into this competition, when you think about it, your personal best was not as high as people were expecting. There was tough competition, and yet you ended up 5th. I mean, you must have been thinking to yourself, this is great.
Yeah, of course, I was more than happy. Especially like getting 5th with a new personal best. It's like the best thing that can happen in this moment. And I had 2 very difficult years behind me, many injuries, some problems, and then coming back, finally being back at that level of competing, and also seeing that I can jump with the girls in the front. That's so much fun, and also, I refound the fun of pole vault, I think.
And I think that's really important. I mean, to find that fun, as you mentioned, in the World Championship final, when there's pressure on. I mean, there's personal expectation because, you know, I think your improvement, that doesn't come out of nowhere. You knew that was in you.
Yeah, of course. I knew that I was capable of jumping around that height, yes. Still, I wasn't able to show it before in the season. So, yeah, I knew that I was capable, but first, like, my goal was to just make finals, and then I knew that everything would start at 0 again, and then I would just try to jump as high as possible. And I mean, I put some pressure on myself, but at the same time, I had the confidence, and I think that's very important, that I was sure that I'm able to jump that high. So yeah, I think that was like the main thing that helped me jumping that high.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And if I'm just going to kind of go back a little bit, certainly for you, Nina, because if you think about it, you got your bronze medal previously, then you came to the Commonwealth Games like 15 days later to win that title. So you're already in the groove of competing in that sense. Then you arrive in Budapest, raring to go.
Yeah.
What were your genuine expectations of that particular competition? To improve just on your medal, or were you thinking, my personal best is going out there?
No, it's a good question. I definitely wanted to finish on the podium. I knew that I'd been mixing it with the girls all season. Look, deep down, everyone's there to win, right? Like, I think compared to last year, this year was different in the fact that last year I was just trying to get onto the podium and I was so happy. Whereas if you watch that competition, you know, a few days ago, I was not stopping until I won, and I think that just shows the progression of me as an athlete and, you know, my career, which is really cool.
Because you raised your personal best as well in that particular competition. So what was special about Budapest, in your opinion, that made... Because lots of people jump well.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was hot. It was a fast track. And the battle that Katie and I had and lots of the other girls, everyone was just on fire.
Yeah.
And that's what you get at a World Championships, and that's what I love about such a high competition.
On the same theme of retracking, going back over old ground, Katie, of course, Olympic Games, gold. World Championships, gold. Lots of people are thinking, 2 back-to-back is pretty good enough, right? Can you defend a title again the following year? Because there's a lot of pressure then, because you go from it being, oh, amazing, Olympic champion, oh, I've won the Worlds too, to expectation.
Yeah.
And going into this competition as well, you were the world lead. So did that give you added pressure as well?
It did, but I will say it also gave me more confidence as well, that I know that when I show up to a major, that I am capable of performing. Doesn't mean that I will, no, but I have to do my job and step up. But at least it was the comfort of knowing what to expect, knowing that all the girls are going to show up and you have to go jump for jump until it's over. And so I will say there's a comfort in knowing what to expect, but there's definitely added pressure, and I could feel that every bar that people were continuing to make. It's like, okay, next bar, we gotta go.
It's interesting because I was working for the BBC when you're jumping in Lausanne, right? And I was watching you guys on the screen, and it came to your particular jump, Katie, right? And I was watching your focus, right? And I was thinking, she's bringing her best here now because it's going to be dragged out of her. I could just see in your face, you're like, oh, I really got to have to switch on here. There's no respite.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's what you felt.
Absolutely. It's funny because as the competition goes on, you know, you're starting to feel the fatigue, but you have to go, you have to bring it. And when she cleared 90, this wave of adrenaline kind of came over me. And I remember picking up my pole thinking, I'm going to like this. This is going to be good. You don't know what's going to actually happen, but there was just this feeling of, okay, like you can do this. And you only feel that way with the pressure that others put on you. You really only know what you're capable of when other people are pushing you to those limits. And I think it just goes to show the level of competition right now that's girls are stepping up because we have to. If we want to be on the podium, if we want to win, we have to show up.
You have to step up, everything. Everybody's bringing their A game in
Absolutely.
that sense. Interesting enough now, Angelica, I'm going to ask you this question. These two were jumping at the very heights, right? They tied. When you're sitting there watching, were you thinking to yourself, oh, go on, do a jump off? Or were you thinking, oh, it'd be nice for them to share? You're on home turf, so you literally can say anything you want.
I think I would have done the same thing when I would have been in their position. But on the other hand, I understand that some people wanted to see a jump off because it does add some value to watch the sport if you see a jump off. But at the same time, I mean, they can share a world championship title. I think if I was in that position, I would do the same. Without hesitating.
Yeah, because the chances are, I always think the chances are you could lose. Right, that's the thing when it comes to a jump off. So how does that negotiation happen between the two, where you think to yourselves, oh, hang on, I better I could be world champion on my own here, or should I? Go on. You will both have two different ideas, I guess.
Yeah, I think for me, until the high jumpers did it in Tokyo, I did not know that you could even share the gold medal. I didn't realize, I thought you had to jump off. And so seeing them do it, I'll be honest, when I watched them do it, I remember thinking, I don't know what I do in that moment, because you like the idea of winning it outright, but you just, until you're in that moment, you really don't know like what your gut reaction is going to be. And so when I finished, I was so tired. I was so fatigued. We had battled it out. I was jumping at my all-time personal best. She had just cleared 2 personal bests. And it brings literally everything out of you physically and emotionally. And when I finished, I thought we kind of had to go to a jump off, and I just assumed we would. And so I think I just said, it's going to go to 95. And then when I saw her hesitation, I think watching it back, it's kind of hard because the camera's moving and you don't really know what people are saying, but I think I said, unless you both want to take it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just throwing it out there, but like not committing to it yet. And I just also didn't want to assume that she would want to, having not won her own outright. I didn't want to put the pressure on her to do that, but I could see it in her facial expression. She was probably feeling the same way I was. And then I think we both were just kind of like, you want to? Like, yes, great.
And how about you then, Nina, in that circumstance? Did you feel like, potentially I could have a 95 in me, or were you thinking, it's all good?
Katie, I think, summed it up perfectly. I think my mind went straight back to the Tokyo Olympics. They shared it, we should do the same. And I think when I floated that with Katie, you could just see the relief on your face. And, I assumed that you wouldn't want to jump off either. And it's funny, we thought that about each other, but so I just floated it and it stuck. And, I didn't even run it past my coach or anything.
Me either. I actually walked over and I said, are you mad? He was not, for the record.
I can imagine. Yeah.
So, I think going from the bronze last year, I didn't really believe maybe I was an outright winner, and I think sharing it is a nice stepping stone to potentially in the years to come to be an outright winner. So, but yeah, I think just sharing it with one of the greats of our sport, I think it kind of, we're going down in the history books. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. Exactly right.
And I think what's cool is that what we do is very individual. When we step on the track, it's us, but we hang out with these girls. We truly become friends with these people. And so rarely do you have 2 people that are friends in that moment having pure elation. Like, so rarely do you get to genuinely celebrate with your friend in that moment, because everybody except for one person usually goes home a little disappointed. Even if they're really happy with their performance, if you don't win, we all want to win. So if you walk away not winning, it just, there's a little bit of sadness there, I guess. And so to have both of us just so truly happy, it was unlike anything I had experienced. And it was, in some ways, it was just as good, if not better, than winning it outright.
To share it. Yeah, to share that experience, I guess.
It's fun.
Yeah, Angelica, I mean, for you, you're in an era of women's pole vault that's just like unreal. I mean, you've just said it, you've mentioned it. It's absolutely fantastic. How does that make you feel that you're part of that game? You're fifth in the World Championships.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, the level of pole vault, I think it's never been that high. Like, already having to clear 65 to make the final at the World Championships, that was, like, crazy. But at the same time, of course, it motivates me to get better, to see where my limits are. And, I mean, seeing girls like these two jump as high as well, you want to improve your own jumping and you want to be as them. So thanks, girls.
So what's the state of women's pole vault in Switzerland at the moment?
We do have quite a few jumpers, especially also younger ones. We have one very talented young boy. He's still a junior. So I think there's good things coming in the future. And
you realise now your performance has kind of like spearheaded that. They're all going, well, we can do it now. Well, yes, but fortunately there was already Nicole Büchler who did like the same thing for me, who showed me that kind of even if you're coming from small Switzerland, you can reach big things. So she kind of did that for me, and now I try to do the same for the younger ones. Excellent, great role model right there. So where are we at now with this competition? I mean, we're going to be competing. You've just heard from Andreas. We're going to be indoors at least. So whatever happens, you'll be nice and dry. Looking forward to it, I guess. Starting with you, Nina.
Oh my gosh, I am so looking forward to it. You know, I had so much fun last year out on the street in the square, and, you know, after the World Championships, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I could fly home. I haven't been home in, you know, over 3 months, or, you know, I could go to Zurich and have fun with the girls, you know, good weather, good runway. The music's going to be pumping. It's going to be filled. So I think doing it for the love and the fun of pole vault is really what's exciting me for tomorrow.
Brilliant. 5'10" from you then, right? Next, Katie, how about you?
Everything she said is completely true. And it's strange in track and field that the biggest event is not the final event. And that's not to say that the Diamond League isn't huge, but what I will say is this is the best I have felt post-major in terms of just my energy levels and my excitement about it. In the past, I mean, I stopped after Worlds last year just with how my season went. I knew that needed to be the final one. And after the Olympics, I definitely crashed. And so I think this year I just feel very different and excited and motivated still. And so all of that combined with just how phenomenal the train station vault is, it's absolutely one of my favorite meets. I think we can still see some pretty good jumping.
So another 5'10". It's looking good now. This is great. And Angelica, for you, you're on home turf. So that's 5'15".
Yeah, of course, it makes it even more special for me, of course, that it's like so close from my home. I went to school in Zurich, so many friends, my whole family, they will all be there. And it makes it so special that like the people that are so close to you, they can really kind of feel the pole vault. And then it's like friends and family, so you kind of know every other people. So it's like very special for me, and I really look forward to jumping again tomorrow. Yeah, and the environment there really allows people to really pay the respect for the event, isn't it? Because when you watch it in the stadium, you're still slightly far away from it as an audience. But when they see actually you running and they can see the height, I think that sends straight away freaks people out, I think, and they show a huge more sense of respect. So for you, this will be the first time they're announcing you as a world champion. You will hear them say Commonwealth champion and world champion. Are you going to get yourself prepared for that?
I think I have to. You know, I don't actually think it's sunk in yet, but I think let's get tomorrow out of the way. Let's have some fun. Let's jump high. I think I'll go home and it'll hit me. Yeah. So I think at Eugene, being announced as a world champ, that will be like, whoa, okay, this is real. So, yeah.
Yeah. And competition-wise, for coming to the end of the season, obviously, we'll be looking forward to the Olympic Games, which, as I said, it's handy for us being Europeans having it in Paris, I feel. I mean, you've got to be looking forward to where you can set your levels there. I mean, for you, Angelica, you're looking at new national records and getting closer again to the rostrum. You're not too far away already. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, like... the next goal will be to improve my personal best even more, and then to jump a national record. And then if I jump a national record, then I'm already at 80, and then I'm not that far off from that podium. So, well, we're going to see what happens next year. I mean, these girls aren't going to stop training as well. So I think the level will be even higher next year. And I think even for making the final, it's going to be even harder. So, yeah, first goal is going to be that, and then we'll see what happens.
Friends and family obviously will be potentially travelling because it's so close in relative terms.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's going to make it an added more excitement for you. And of course, Katie, for you now, it will be like, gulp. I've got to defend my title.
I've got to make the team first.
That's very true.
The US
That's very true. That's very true.
The stress of the trials is honestly unlike anything I've felt before, and I absolutely have to have that first and foremost in my mind, and making sure that I don't rest on my laurels, and I have to go in and do well at trials, and then we can worry about the Olympics.
So even and it's quite interesting because people will be listening and thinking to themselves, well, even as an Olympic champion, you worry about your national championships to make the team?
Absolutely, because it really just comes down to one day. If you happen to get sick, if you happen to get food poisoning, if you just are just off that day. We all have off days. I mean, I've no-heighted earlier this year. Like, it happens. And it's something that, even though, yes, I have the confidence of, okay, I am a good vaulter, it's still, anything can happen. So you really have to go in ready for anything and just take it very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. And for you, Nina, I mean, of course, you'll be announced at the Olympic Games as a world champion as well. So does that add a little bit more pressure for you? Does it inspire you to work hard this winter? Of course. I know you're going to work hard anyway. Don't get me wrong. But, that little extra.
I'm already excited. Like, it's weird. I think so many, journalists and media just went straight to, okay, you're a world champ, the Olympics. You're in a year, like, how are you feeling? And my mind went there straight away as well. And, I'm definitely in the prime of my career. I'll be 27 next year. And, yeah, the girls are jumping high. And I think next season we'll have to jump some pretty high bars to get onto that podium next year.
Yeah, it may take a serious jump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So what advice would you have given your younger self, for example? I'm always interested to see, because for me, as a former athlete and, running at the highest level and competing at the highest level, I was terrified and fearful of everything. So I was always afraid, scared. So as an older man, looking back on my young self, I would have told myself, don't worry, it'll all be okay. What kind of advice would you give your younger self dealing with the pressures that you're under now? Yeah.
I love that question. I was a really good junior, and I felt a lot of pressure on me as an athlete. And, I'm 26 now, and I've definitely matured throughout my career. And I think what I would have told my younger self would be, your self-worth is not dependent on how you vault. If you're losing, it doesn't make you a bad person. Like, you're still amazing, and I think it's taken me so long to realize that. Even if I'm winning, I'm the same human being. You're not worth any more or any less. So I think that's sunk in, and, a weight has actually lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah. Katie?
That's a really good one. I'm going to second that, but then for me, I think a lot of my career, I was really afraid to pole vault, and I was so quick to believe that I was a bad pole vaulter, that the good things were just flukes. And I just had to every day come into practice and prove to myself and prove to everybody else that I was good at this. And I think it really took winning in Eugene to like instill this confidence in me. Like, no, you're actually good at this. Like, just believe in yourself. Like, don't be so, every day I would go into pole vault practice so stressed. And so I had to just really hype myself up every time I got on the runway. And it's just, you don't have to take it so seriously. You can have fun with it, and you are good at this. Like, every time, the bad things are flukes. And so I really wish that I could have relaxed a little bit more around pole vaulting and not taken it so seriously. Again, going back to like, whether you have a bad day, it doesn't make you a bad person or a bad pole vaulter. Like, it happens. And so I wish I could have had a bit more of a relaxed attitude around it. But yeah.
But you made it here today.
I did. It obviously got me to where I needed to, and it's easier to sit here now and say, oh, just be relaxed before at the accolades. But yeah. Yeah,
it is always interesting. And I thought with you, Angelica.
I think, well, I just want to add, like, of course, what they said, it's so true. But I think at the same time, it's also like what we love about the sport as well. Like, the feeling before a big meet, like the adrenaline you feel, I think it's also kind of part of the game. And even though at that exact moment maybe you might feel a bit uncomfortable, looking back, it's one of the best feelings in the world. And I think that's also kind of part of the game. So yeah, I think I would just say enjoy it and just make the best out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with everything you said there, by the way. Coming from the world of sport and same sport as you did, high hurdles, yeah, I would say that would be the case. Now, here's another tricky question for you, all right? So, I used to high hurdle, right? And that was my speciality, and I was all right at it, okay?
You weren't bad.
Yeah, I was all right. That was all right, right. That was all right. And my second event is the event actually I loved. If I could do another event, it wouldn't have been hurdles. I got a bin hurdles. It would have been the 200 meters, right? I fancy myself as a really decent 200-meter runner. Never lost one. I was proud to tell Usain Bolt that I'd never lost a 200, so he was lucky, right? In that sense, right? So if you could do another event in track, can't be your pole vault now, what would it be that you say you enjoyed the most?
Oof. My mum always wanted me to be a heptathlete.
Okay, yeah.
At my little athletics club, I still hold javelin records. I still hold shot put records. So, yeah. So I think it'd be fun if we could, like, compete.
Okay, I'm writing this down to organise a heptathlete competition. Yeah, okay, yeah.
You know, but it's over 2 days. It seems too stressful. You know, I'm a really good pole vaulter, but I can't high jump for anything. So I don't know. But long jump, maybe hurdles. You know, I went to nationals for all those events when I was little. So, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so maybe a heptathlete, maybe then. Yeah. Okay, go on, Kate.
I'd say any event I don't have to travel with poles, which would be every single one. Yeah. Gosh, it's hard to pick. I'm going to rephrase it a little bit and say the event that I wish I was good at would be like a 400. I mean,
that's a lot of work, you know.
I know, but that's what I mean by, like, when I say I wish I had that type of endurance. Yeah. I do not. Okay. But it's just, I think it's such a good race, and I wish that I had been good enough to, and wanted to, be on a 4x4 at the end of the meet, and it's coming in college, you know, it's your team, it's coming down to the 4x4 at the end. It was so exciting to watch. Had they put me on it, I would have been walking at the end, so it's really good that they didn't, but that was one event that I always thought would be really fun to be good at.
All right.
Not the work.
Not the work. Okay, but the race. Yeah, I can hear that. Angelica?
Well, I've done some heptathlon when I was younger. Yeah.
You're in trouble. Yeah, you're in trouble.
No, but like the event I liked most was definitely the hurdles. But I'm so bad at starts, so probably yeah. No, and that's what I like the most, and even like, up until a few years ago, I always did that at like under 23 Swiss championships and stuff like that. So I always enjoyed doing something else as well to just keep like
to mix it up a bit. Yeah, to mix it up. Now I've got a confession to make. I have tried the pole vault in my life. Okay. Do you think I jumped over 3 meters, 4 meters, 5 meters, or under all of those big time. What do you think?
When you say you tried it, what do you like day one?
How many sessions did you have?
You got to give us context.
All right, here we go. Yeah, I was just about to leave then. Yeah, right,
If it's day one, I'm going with 3.
Okay. Well, I was training to be a decathlete. So I was pretty good at most of the other events, and then I had to try pole vault. And then that kind of steered me away from decathlon, and I focused on hurdles.
I'm going to say 4.
I'm going to say 4. Yeah.
4? Oh,
Athlete.
I love this. Yeah. Thank you. It was 2.72 meters. So I really was not going to be a decathlete with that in mind, right? But let's get that my kind of, my pole vaulting abilities. Talking about, I have an electric car at home, right? You'll get where I'm going when I say this now, right? So I have an electric car at home, and lots of the times when I travel a long way, I get slightly anxious if there's a charging point available for me, right? So I feel that anxiety I get must be the same anxiety you have when you check in your poles, because that's like personal equipment. And at what stage you go, oh my goodness, okay, I can set off for the competition because my equipment has arrived? Nina.
God, that is just one of the most stressful things.
Yeah.
Traveling and competing around Europe. Thank goodness I have an amazing agent who sorts most of it. Shout out, Jeff. But yes, it's so stressful. But I think with the modern, world we live in, everybody has air tags. So we can see if they have got on the plane or not. I haven't yet invested in them, but...
Me either.
Okay. I do.
Okay,
It takes up a lot of stress.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, because it must be, I was going to say, of course I couldn't travel with 10 hurdles, right, to be put out there, yeah. But for you guys, I say, because it is your personal equipment, the anxiety must be huge.
Yes, and as an American athlete that has to go overseas frequently, it definitely is. It's an added stress. So I finally just got a set of poles that stays in Europe, and that makes it a bit less stressful because you just fly to where you've stored them in Europe and then fly to your next destination. And at least once they're in Europe, you feel a little bit better. But yeah, it's just part of what we do. It's part of the job. It's stressful, but at the end of the day, you just hope that my agent is phenomenal, and you trust that they'll help you and get your equipment where you need to go. But it's definitely an added stress that other events don't have to worry about.
Yeah, no, you're smart. You've got the tags.
Yeah, no, she's a smart one.
You're smart. You got tags on it. Does that give you, what kind of certainty does that give you? Because it still doesn't guarantee that the airline's going to put your poles on the plane, right?
No, I only got it last year after World Championships because going to Eugene, it was a huge mess with my poles. So finally they made it around 7 stops around the world until they arrived in Eugene. And I was so stressed because I didn't know where they are and if they're going to be there on time. And it doesn't help with the airline putting them on the plane, but at least I know when I arrive with the plane and I see the poles are still in Zurich, that I don't have to wait for them and that I can directly go file the missing baggage form. No, it's stressful, but it's part of the game. And in Europe, we do a lot of travel by car because it's easier. We can just put it on a car and then, go, which makes it a bit easier that I don't have to go overseas like these two. Yeah. But then, if we have to go overseas for Worlds, that doesn't make it much easier. So, yeah.
Wowza. I take my hat off because I hate it. I know that feeling of stress where you think you're not going to quite make it. So I can assure you, your poles are in Zurich. Yeah. So we were looking forward to, of course, having an absolutely fantastic competition here. And I thoroughly hope that you enjoy it because you certainly deserve it. You worked hard this season, and I think it's about time you enjoy your competitions as well. So from Nina, from Katie and Angelica, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Are there any questions from the floor at this moment? Anybody would like to ask? We're all good? Oh, there you go.
Katie, after the shared goal, you had to put out, or you felt that you had to put out an Instagram statement to the people who criticized your decision. past. How do you look at this whole, I don't know, online backlash you got right now?
Yeah, I think, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, you're always going to get criticism. So I take it with a bit of a grain of salt, but I do know there are also people out there that just genuinely didn't understand why we did what we did. And there are obviously the people that are louder and meaner about it, but under that, there are definitely people that just wanted to know. And I've always said I want my, platform to help just get pole vault out there and just make it more known and hopefully more popular. And so I felt like this was just a really good chance to explain what we did, why we did it, who we are, what the sport is, and just also to humanize us a little bit. I think people see elite athletes and just think we're there for their entertainment. And at the end of the day, we are human beings. And so, but I guess if we're getting that type of criticism, then we're doing something right to be out there in the world to that level. So yeah, it really was just I knew I wasn't going to change anyone's mind that was mad about it, because anyone that wants to be mad will stay mad. But it was more just to let people in a little bit.
Any follow-up questions? Nope, we're all good. Once again, thank you very much. Enjoy your competition. Thank you.